my favorite time of the week because it's my rest day. I get to talk wrestling with Steve Slammer. And dear God, is AEW gonna be Christmas is coming early, bro. I'm sorry, but Eddie Kingston versus CM Punk, that's gonna be a fucking fight, bro. That's gonna be a sensational match. It's gonna be logical, and we will get into that. But I just had to since my titties are nice and like fucking tingly thinking about it, I just had to bring it up there. Mm-hmm. How are you doing today, Steve?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm just glad that those things aren't going to rip through your hoodie there, man. That's.
Oh yeah, not through the Slammer fitness gear.
Look at that little plug, little cheap pop, as Mick Foley would put it.
That cheap pop, dude. I love. You know me. I love the cheap pops from the Babyface, and I love cheap heat. Got to give a shout out to MJF on that one. He's the king of cheap heat. So, MJ, who will also be in full gear, facing Darby Allen. Now, I don't know. I think they could have maybe built that match up a little bit more differently, but I think it's going to be a great freaking match either way.
We'll have to do another prediction show, man.
We should do a prediction show, because that is on Friday. Hey, Seductive Steel, how are you?
And on top of that, we're 10 days from Survivor Series, too. So a lot of stuff coming up, man.
10 days from Survivor Series. Oh, and I'm going to ask you this live on the show, bro, because I've gotten some DMs asking me how I felt about the latest releases. And instead of responding to 15-plus messages, I think we need to do a tiered list of everybody who's been released from WWE from 2020 to 2021. Would you be down to do that?
I would. That's a lot of people.
All right, so do we just do main roster or main roster NXT main card?
I think you got to do all of the above.
Yeah.
Just so you can kind of get because there was some up-and-coming developmental talent. And then there were some guys that are proving to be stars now on the other show.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, let's take Eva Marie. We did not like the whole Dewdrop storyline. We complained about it incessantly. But you go from basically being SummerSlam, mid-card, getting like a whole story, a whole angle, lots of vignettes, to, yeah, you're gone. Or in the case of Nia Jax, it's like, hey, you're feuding with Charlotte Flair, and you're gone. Karrion Kross, hey, we're doing this big old thing, and you're gone. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Keith Lee, and Keith Lee
they just made him the Bearcat, and now he's gone. And somehow Dewdrop avoids the axe.
Dewdrop avoided the axe. Yeah, it's very interesting. But what I've heard is it's related to the vaccine and people maybe not wanting to get it. Or, in my humble opinion, if you kind of look at everything, I think they're heading for a sell, bro. With the amount of contracts they're clipping, and if you look at the types of characters that they clipped, if they're trying to sell to a Disney, if they're trying to sell to those types of folks, it makes sense. I don't know. Do you think it's vaccine related? Do you think it's cell related? Or do you think there's a third option that maybe I'm not seeing here?
I find it hard to believe that they're heading towards a sale. With that said, I have no friggin' clue what they're doing at this point. Can anyone explain to me the logic behind this? I mean, it makes absolutely no sense.
Well, I mean, if you go based off what the dirt sheets are saying, there was a goal, like basically the Khan, not Tony Khan, the other Khan, Nick Khan. He was essentially brought in, and he's an entertainment type guy. Basically, they had $120 million on payroll, and they wanted to drop that to $70 million a year on payroll. So
they are making record profits.
Well, yeah, exactly. But the thing is,
they've got a multi-billion dollar TV deal.
Yes, they've got multi-billion-dollar TV. They've got streaming deals. They've got money hand over fist. But that being said, it's like, is it one of those things where you're looking, it's like, wait, we're paying this person XYZ, but they're not the biggest draw. Would it just be better for us to give them, 75% of that money, half that money, and clip them, and then we could just focus on the guys who are drawing us money right now?
I think Vince has gone senile, and Nick Khan has no idea what he's doing.
I mean, that could very well be the case also.
And Triple H is off doing something with Stephanie. I have no idea. Channeling his inner Macho Man.
Channeling his... Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, brother. Oh, man, I introduced... I did some practice. It wasn't matches, but spots this week, and I finally introduced the Jack Slammer voice to the wrestling, to my character, and I'm like, I could see, man, this is gonna get real throaty real quick, but I'm like, I can't not do it. I can't not do the Jack Slammer voice.
So it's like a cross between Randy Savage and Val Venus. Is that what you're going for?
That's kind of the case, yeah. I think that's the natural case where it led to. The whole thing was, it's just like, I just wanted to create a likable scumbag who's just been through much, and then at first you're going to be like, okay, who the hell is this guy? He sucks. But then as you peel back the layers of the character, you're going to be like, oh, he's actually not that big of an asshole, but he's still an asshole. Like that kind of a thing. Jack Slammer drives a Winnebago. The only reason he's doing this professional wrestling thing is so that he can park his Winnebago down by the beach, as opposed to that fucked up place on Fifth Avenue with the heroin needles and the meth urine.
Well, look, I can speak for everyone when I say that I don't think we're really interested or really want to think about where Jack Slammer's parking the Winnebago.
Oh, I think you're gonna. I think that Winnebago, that imaginary Winnebago, is gonna be over, sir. So
I'm talking about a different Winnebago.
Oh, the different Winnebago. Oh man, dude. Oh, I got your guys' tag team outfits made up, haha, from Seductive Steel. Actually, Steve and Jack Slammer, those costumes would be interesting. Because I would honestly just play it like I'm the scumbag, and then you're like the overachieving brother, or something. We could probably pull something off there. We could. It's like, because you're like the 6'4", 220 guy, right? You're the guy who looked like you should have.
220, yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna cut down to like 190 for the show coming up. I got down
below that.
Oh yeah, I'm already down to 177.
I was almost down to 180 for the last show.
Oh damn. And that is, yeah. I was looking back at some of the backstage footage that we caught. You were actually like training with the bands, just getting a pump going. I was and then I was like, look how fucking thick, how shredded we looked for that.
Oh yeah.
And then you look on stage though, and something about that stage light.
It's the spray tan / stage light / high definition camera.
High def camera, yeah. But
like,
we need to do
weird.
If I ever promote a bodybuilding show, instead of harsh light up front, I'm going back to 90s bodybuilding. Overhead lighting. Overhead top with like kind of this angle going through, so you can see all the freaking rips and cuts and all that fun stuff. But yeah, man, you looked freaking great, dude. And,
oh yeah, I'm enjoying being back down, on the path here, and just been killing it all week and for the last couple weeks, and diet's on point again, and just October's over, so it's time to get busy. We got 13, 14 weeks.
Oh, we're down to 13, brother.
13 weeks, man.
Yeah, 13 weeks. I'm gonna start doing a little YouTube series, my vlogs again, to kind of let people know what's up, because there's
live from the Winnebago.
Live from the Winnebago, baby. All right, yeah.
Shag carpeting with a disco ball.
No, basically, I got my My collection of Nickelback greatest hits over
Just
here. I've got a vinyl portrait of Jeremy Piven. You know,
ooh, just so
just the
long as
normal
there's no
shit.
rubber sheets on the bed, I think we're good.
Nah, bro, there's no rubber freaking sheets on the bed.
There's no sheets on the bed. What are you talking about?
No, it's a Hello Kitty blankie, okay?
Excellent, excellent.
That I got at Savers for $3, okay?
Well, hey, you know what? Before we get any further into anything, happy Veterans Day, brother.
Happy Veterans Day, bro. You know, I did 3, you did 9.
A little over
So
9, yeah.
9 years, yeah. I did the National Call to Service program. I
Mm.
did 18 months plus an extension and a little bit of reserve time, and then that was all she wrote for me. You were like high up there, and then did you make E6 or E7?
I was an E6 when I got out. Yeah.
Nice, yeah. I was just frocked to E4 when I'd gotten
Mm.
out. So I was a salty gunner's mate by the point in time I left. Oh, seriously, greatest group of guys I ever met in my life were in that armory. But holy shit, if anybody like people now who are offended by everything, if they took the shit that I heard when I was 17 years old in that armory, I don't. They would probably be like, in one of those movies when just sitting in a corner, like just terrified.
We,
Like,
we need to do a show one of these days, just old military stories, because I got a million of them, man.
I've got some really good ones. I know you have way more, and you were on subs, so you had
Yep.
like you had that close contact ones. But I was on a frigate, so I was on a small vessel. Basically, it was about 250, 300 people tops, and probably look, dude, I had a blast, man. I was 17, paid to like perform maintenance on weapons. I mean, that
That's
was like the
right.
coolest freaking job ever. Qualify people on the range, got to search some boats for some drugs. It was a fun time in my life.
Hell yeah.
But there were some people out there who, they didn't get to have the fun time, and they paid a pretty big price for our country. So, tip of the hat to those guys, and
Oh,
to,
absolutely.
to any fellow veterans watching this right now. You're our brother, and we love you. And you know, you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we don't know why. But
It's a brotherhood. That's what it is. It's a brotherhood.
kind of is, yeah, man. It's like you don't even have. Do you ever like whenever you meet somebody you've never met before and you realize you were both in the military? There's this. You kind of feel like you know that person
Yep.
just like this much before you actually get to know them. Like you probably know more about them than the average person just by the fact that they were military, and you and I were both Navy.
Yep.
So that was a very interesting thing. We should also maybe one day, when we both want to talk about that more, we can actually talk about our relationship. How we just like kind of formed this bond kind of later on in our lives.
Mm.
So that'd be kind of interesting to talk about. But I don't know if we want to talk about that just yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just save that for like 5. Yeah,
We'll
let's
save
see.
that. We'll save that for the one of the layers of Jack Slammer's backstory.
Jack Slammer. Yeah. Okay. No, dude, that's gonna be my. You know what? I'll tell you off camera because I want you to help me develop this guy. Because I really think we got some gold here. I really think we got some nuggets of gold. Because
I don't know how to. I don't know how to take it that you want my advice on how to be a scumbag.
you know what? Because no. I want your advice. How I can take my crazy idea, make it more realistic, which I'm trying to do, which
I
basically
understand.
make it feel like I want to feel like you've met this guy, and it's like. So here's the thing. I'm watching Kingston and CM Punk do their
Mhm.
thing on the mic,
Mm.
and I'm like, the
Good
whole
stuff.
time I'm like, this is fucking real. It's not choreographed. It's not. It's 100% ad libbed, and Punk is just Punk. He's a real person, and fucking Eddie Kingston, who's probably my second favorite guy on that roster, is just a real psychopath. And
well, I got to tell you, and when you look at Hollywood actors and the ones that are the best, whenever they talk about their roles, like they always talk about like they like get into a mindset, right?
yeah,
So like if you look at like Heath Ledger and as the Joker in The Dark
yeah,
Knight,
yeah,
right? And you watch the documentary on all that and what he did, and he went to these dark places, but it shows out in the performance, right? Because I think that at the time he thought that's what he was, right? I think when you look at like an Eddie Kingston, that's who he is. So he
yeah,
buys into that, and it shows in his delivery. I think when you look at like some of the scripted stuff going on in WWE, I think that's why the promos come across so wooden, because it's written words for them. They're trying to get recited lines out. It's not something that they necessarily believe in.
yeah.
So I think for you, I mean, you are Jack Slammer, man. So it's
I
like,
am that.
you're just building the story and all that in your head. And I think eventually that's going to show in the promo. I think you're going to be killing it.
Yeah, no, that's what like I don't really plan anything out. I just say it as I go along. So yeah, that's one thing. But sticking to the Kingston CM Punk promo and their back and forth exchanges, do you think a heel turn is in play for CM Punk soon? Because because Kingston is a guy who's loved by that crowd, and when he made that comment like Full Gear, why don't we do Dynamite? Why don't we do Evolution? That's more your speed. And then basically they go into like that real feelings towards each other. Maybe that shit that Kingston had built up for a while, but it just felt so goddamn real. And then, dude, fight me, fight me, fight me, fight me. I was like, you know what? It's simple and it works. And speaking of WWE, why is Roman Reigns so over right now? Why are his promos the best? Because he's ad-libbing them. We could give all the flowers in the world to Paul Heyman, and I feel like he deserves a lot of them. But Roman Reigns is coming up with great freaking dialogue and great
I'm sure
promos.
Paul's helping him.
Oh yeah, I'm certain as well, but he's just being himself, notched up to 10 while trying to be a dick. And honestly, bro, people are cheering for Roman. He's not like a full heel. He's basically a likable heel. He's kind of gone into that Randy Savage territory.
Well, even MJF, I mean, like his social media, like he owns that persona.
Yes.
He comes across like such a smarmy dick.
Yes, he
even
does.
on social media, right?
Dude.
and I think that's why he's the best at what he does right now. I mean, he's believable. Like I believe that's who he is.
Well, dude, you know what I will say about MJF? I think, and I've said it on the show before, he's the closest thing that we have to a modern-day Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Sure.
Like, the way he cuts his promos, the way he skates, he's like, look, if I'm here to piss these people off, I'm going to do my job and piss these people off. And my favorite thing was his parents held a sign, right, that said, we're MJF's parents and we hate him too.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm talking about.
And then he retweets it and he goes, fuck you, Mom.
Exactly. and I mean, come on. And especially nowadays because, with social media, everyone has access to everybody, right?
Yeah.
And, it's not to get too into the protection of kayfabe and all that stuff, but it just drives me up the wall when I see these two people that they have this ongoing storyline, on TV or in a promotion. And then they're on social media just like, oh yeah, man, it was so great playing cards with you the other night. Like, oh, let's get together and, let's have the wives get together. It's like, it just drives me up the wall. Like that's why I appreciate somebody like an MJF who, when he goes on social media, that's who he is. When you go back to the CM Punk, I mean, CM Punk's just being Phil Brooks right now, right? Like he's happy to be back. And so he's always been a good promo anyway, but he's just you know, this is the first time since he's been back though that he's been given something I think to really sink his teeth into.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the potential for heel turn, I just don't. They're not gonna turn Punk heel, and I think
Yeah.
that Kingston is too over to be turned heel. And I think if they tried to turn either heel, especially against each other, I think the crowd would absolutely revolt against that.
Yeah, this feels like more of a fight. They're promoting this as just two guys. They're not really working the crowd very much. They're just
Well,
selling the fact that they're selling us on they hate each other and this is a fight. Like Eddie Kingston didn't say, "Hey, wrestle me." He said, "Fight me." So I
mhm.
think they're going to treat this like a fight. I think the match is going to feel like a fight. I feel like it's going to be a lot of strikes, nothing too flashy. I think it's going to kind of feel like the Miro match a lot, but Punk's obviously his moveset's going to be different because he's a lot smaller than Miro. Um, but go ahead and finish your thought.
Well, I was gonna say I go back to so um, Punk's not going after the title.
No, I don't think he wants
Not
the
anytime
title.
soon, or probably not even at all, right?
Yeah.
Danielson's doing that. So, okay, fine. So, what's Punk's big money match outside of something for the title? And I still say it's with MJF, right?
Yeah.
Kingston's not beating Punk, and they've already set the stage for that. When Kingston's like, "It doesn't matter if I lose, I'm going to fight you, whatever," right?
Yeah.
I think this is kind of like I'm trying to look at this as maybe like a warm up to kind of get Punk into a more aggressive style of promo where there's some passion and some heat behind it before he goes into an eventual feud with MJF, because I think that he needs that practice is
Yeah.
probably a poor word, but his matches and his promos so far. I mean, look who's he wrestled. He's wrestled Darby Allen, okay, face. You know, he did the thing with uh, oh god, I'm drawing blanks on all the guys that he's wrestled so far, but they've all been just one-off matches. He did the thing with Powerhouse Hobbs. You know, there hasn't really been, other than his promo battle with Taz, right? But Taz isn't wrestling. I think they need to get him into a more aggressive mode so that the money match with MJF actually pays off, assuming that that's where they go. But if they don't go there, then what are they really doing with Punk?
Well, here's the thing. I think Punk was out of it for. I agree with everything you said, by the way. I think this is just kind of backfill a few things with what you just said. I think he's had the matches that he's had just because he's had matches with guys of varying styles and varying body types because he's been out of the game for a long time. 7 years is an eternity, especially in professional wrestling. So I think he's like, all right, I just want to get back in the groove.
Sure.
And then, he's kind of from that OVW standpoint where it's like, hey, if it's not broke, why fix it? And if people are if this love fest is still going down between him and the fans, he's probably like, well, look, if it's getting a pop, why not ride this out until I have to do that swing to being a dick? So I think it's a little bit of that, and then also setting this up because he's had miniature storylines up to this point, right? I think this is probably outside of his heat with Darby Allen. This has probably been the longest story we've had because it's basically been 1 week quick fixes. Okay, we got a beginning and an end. There's really been no middle to it, right? It's like, hey, we got heat, we have a match, it's over. Heat match, over. To your point, I could see MJF pulling some heel shit, beating Darby. Punk respects Darby. Punk gets involved at the end, saves Darby. Now we got, now we could probably have Punk teaming with Darby and Sting against, great, another faction versus faction, but I think this would actually be pretty good. The Punk has an alliance with Sting, Darby against what does MJF call that faction? His faction,
The Pinnacle.
the Pinnacle. Yeah, my bad. The Pinnacle.
The Pinnacle.
The Pinnacle. The Peniscle. The Peniscle. The Peniscle. So I could totally see that going on. Yeah, it'd be good, dude. Just I think MJF would drag Punk out of it because I think, and here's the thing, even though I think that match will be great between Punk and MJF, nothing, and I mean nothing, will compare to those promos. It'll be like Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor. Both those fights were amazing. But what was the best part of that thing? The marketing, the promos, the promotion of the fight was more entertaining than the fight itself. And the fight was really good. So I think that's it, and that would probably be the perfect feud. And then if you go him versus MJF, Punk can still stay a babyface for a while. Now, I will list this during the promo, but I have a very, 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 hold on, very, 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 very dangerous idea that they're actually going to put the belt on Paige. I think Paige is going over.
It's not. Well, I tell you what. This is interesting. So, when is Full Gear?
Full Gear is this Sunday, correct?
It's this Sunday.
This
so
Sunday,
do you just want to get into full-blown predictions here?
Yeah, let's go through the card. Let's get through predictions. I got time today. I don't have to leave at 5.
Oh, boy. Well, because I think that you need to – I think when you look at predictions, I think you got to also look at the entire card, right? That's why I'm 30-5, by the way. Cheap pop. Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, okay. Full Gear.
I'm putting the glasses on now, man. So
he's putting glasses on. I'm putting on the Full Gear 2021 card. Oh, they have a Wikipedia page already.
Well, so do you want to start at the top or do you want to start at the bottom?
You know what? I will start at the bottom.
The bottom.
The bottom. We're starting from the bottom. Now we're here. We have Pac and Cody Rhodes taking on Malachi Black and Andre El Idolo.
El Idolo.
El Idolo. All right. Who's going over in that match?
Malachi and Andrade.
You think Yeah, I could see that because Cody got his win back in the singles. Malachi.
They want to do something with Black. And Andrade's kind of been spinning his wheels.
Yeah.
There's no benefit to giving Cody another. It's got to be.
Yeah, my thing is you do this as a tag match, and basically I think Pac is the guy who's going to get pinned. Pac's going to take the Mystique kick, and he's going to be the one to get pinned.
Cody's not taking the pin again.
Cody's not going to take the pin, so that's exactly why they're doing this. They can give Malachi the win, and then I think they can end the whole Rhodes Black thing with this one.
But that's the thing, right? Like if they were going to end it, then it wouldn't be in a tag match involving Pac.
Yeah, that's true. That's very, very true.
Right, especially if we're saying that Cody's not going to be the one to take the pin. So this is a weird one to me.
Because I feel, not to cut you off, I just feel like their story has reached the logical closure point, and we should move on.
Well, exactly. So, and that's why my prediction is what it is. So, I mean, whether this continues on or whether it doesn't, who are you trying to do more with? Well, you've got Andrade, who is, like I said, he's really been spinning his wheels. He hasn't really done much. They've been doing stuff with Black. Cody's there until he goes to go film season 3 of the big show or Roads to the Top or whatever the hell he's doing out extracurricular. And you have Pac, who's been around. So for me, it just makes more sense for Black and El Idolo to go over. So that's my pick.
El Idolo, I will agree with you on that one. So no, we're 1-1. We're in agreement, and we're also the bonus. The bonus here is Pac is going to take the pin. I'm
not prepared to go there.
Okay, you're not prepared to go there.
I believe me. I give that about an 80% chance of happening. I think that's probably the most logical. But there's also a part of me that thinks if they do want to end it, they could do something where he pins Cody, and then that causes Cody to go on his latest sabbatical. But I'm not prepared to go there as my bonus prediction. But I think we're in agreement. It should be Malachi and Andrade.
All right, the next match on the list, Christian Cage and Jurassic Express. Can he just say he's part of Jurassic Express now? He's already there. You know what? Jurassic Express, because guess what, Christian Cage? You're on the team. Jeez. Versus the Super Click, which is Adam Cole and the Young Bucks. Matt Jackson versus Nick Jackson. I've got the Super Click going over.
Yeah, it has to be the Super Click. Aside from the fact that Jurassic Express and Christian have been around now for a bit. You got the EVPs that are, the Young Bucks, but then you've got Cole who's back, or I'm not back, but he's here now. It just makes too much sense for the Super Click to go over here, so I think it has to be the Super Click.
Yeah, absolutely. We are in agreement again. My thing is, all right, if we're going the EVP route, they lost last pay-per-view. There's no freaking way they're going to lose 2 pay-per-views in a row. And then there's no way they're going to have Adam Cole, who's getting one of the biggest pops when he does a little Adam Cole, baby.
Well, and what's the benefit to having Christian and Jurassic Express go over?
There's really no benefit at this time. I think though, Jungle Boy's in for a big push soon. I think he's...
Well, but he's been so start and stop over the years, and with what they've got going on at the top of the card right now, what are you going to really do with Jungle Boy? If anything, it feels like, and I hate to say this because I complain about it so much in WWE because I think they have too many belts. They need another belt.
They kind of do. This would be... Well, here's the thing. They need another belt, but, WWE has, 16 belts right now we counted? Like 12? Too many belts. They need a division so that guys like Jungle Boy could have something to do. So now you got the TNT division. You would have just one more belt, which would give those guys something to do.
Yeah, like a junior heavyweight title or... I don't know, something like that. Or you can even do an underweight belt, don't go, light heavyweight or cruiserweight or something like that, middleweight, if they wanted to do that. But there just needs to be, it feels like there's too much of a log jam and that there's opportunities to push somebody like a Jungle Boy without needing him to be in the main event scene, because the sad reality is with what you've got going on in the main event scene right now is Jungle Boy's not breaking through that anytime soon. Not with his promo skills the way that they are.
Nah,
But if they continuously start and stop him the way that they have been, ultimately you end up damaging him because you can only take him so seriously when he gets to that level again.
Exactly, 100%.
But with that said, their team's losing here, and Christian was undefeated for the longest time. Are they going to pin Luchasaurus? I think Jungle Boy might be the one to take the pin here.
He might take the pin, and we'll go into that later. But yeah, there's no way the Super Click's losing. If the Super Click does lose, Adam Cole is not the one taking the pin. And now it's a falls count anywhere match. Now, is it one fall? So here's my question: is it an elimination to where you got to eliminate the entire other team? Because that's one thing.
I don't think that that's what they're doing. I didn't get that impression. Okay. Not that it would be an elimination match. I think it's just a straight up, one fall. One fall. That's all. Okay. Cool. One fall. That's all.
One fall. All right.
I'm borderline on making this my lock of the night, but I'm going to reserve that for the moment.
It's going to be interesting. All right. Next on the card. CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston. Here's my lock of the night. This is going to be the match of the night. Much like Darby Allen versus Punk was match of the night, I think this will be match of the night, at least in terms of the style of wrestling I like. And Punk's going over. I don't see a world where they would. Punk is not losing.
Punk's going over. Punk's going over. I actually think there's another match that's going to be probably a better match.
Okay.
But this is gonna be damn good.
It's gonna be a good match. We're both in agreement there. All right, I don't think we have to put too much into this. We've already talked Punk. All right, next on
here, man.
Huh?
we're 3 for 3 lockstep so far, man.
You know what, man? Here's the thing. I'm starting to use this and not this. When I use this, it's like, all right, I'm a 15-year-old kid, and I just want the world to be perfect. And in a perfect world, this guy, and nope. I'm just like, nope. All right, gotta play fantasy booker if you want to get my fucking record above 500. Okay. Next on the list, Darby Allen, who will be accompanied by Sting, versus MJF, who will be accompanied by Wardlow. Who's going over, Steve?
So this is tougher than you might think. So go back to the last pay-per-view; they both lost.
Yes.
Right.
So this is kind of a must-win for both of them.
These are two foundational talents for the company.
Yep.
The question for me is who is the long-term money guy here? And I think it's MJF.
I think so too.
And I think MJF needs to go over here. I think Darby, because he's that he's that underdog kind of, he'll take a licking and keep on ticking kind of guy. He keeps coming at you. He's got all heart. MJF cannot lose another pay-per-view match and be expected to maintain his credibility after they screwed the pooch on him with Jericho.
Yeah.
It has to be MJF here.
You're 100% correct. I mean, he can't lose to a 50-year-old Jericho and then a 135-pound MJF and then be considered for that championship picture.
I'm just going to say here, if he loses to Darby here, then he's never going to be taken seriously again. For that reason, MJF going over here is my lock of the night.
MJF is the lock of the night for you. You know what? Only because, and here's why. You said it best before. What would they try to do? I think MJF is going to want to go for the belt. He's going to do some shit that's going to make Punk want MJF, and Punk is going to get MJF. I think this is going to trigger, this is the match that's going to trigger that feud. So I am also going MJF.
Well, exactly, right? So, I mean, if Allen goes over here, what's next for Allen? Right.
Because the thing was, MJF has already been alluding to, I'm the best in AEW. I should be fighting for the title. And what better way? I just had a big win against one of the better baby faces in the company. And wait, Cult of Personality plays.
Well, but exactly, right? I mean, there's unless you're going to keep the belt on Omega for a while, there's really nothing for a Darby Allen to do after this. That's the next progression. Whereas with MJF, he can take on Punk. He can take on, Adam Page if he wins. He can take on Danielson if he wins. He can take on Danielson even if he doesn't win. Yep. I mean, there's more upside to MJF winning here.
Yeah.
Would it surprise me here if they had him lose in some fluky way and then had him and Wardlow beat down Darby Allen because they think it's going to get his heat back from the loss? I'm going to tell you this much. Yeah, I would be surprised if they did that because it's not going to work. He needs to win. And candidly, he needs to just beat Darby's ass here. But they're not going to do that. They're not going to go all the way with that. Yeah. But MJF winning here has to happen. It just makes too much sense.
It's not going to be Kofi versus Lashley, which is almost, it needs to be something similar to that, but I don't know if he'll ever job like that.
Man, so we are 4 for 4 lockstep, baby.
We are lockstep, baby. Hold on, I'm going back. This next one is going to be interesting. It's kind of easy for me to choose. You got the Lucha Brothers taking on FTR. I think this one is for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. They just got the belt, and I think FTR is a good team, but I don't think FTR is going to be the team to beat them. So I think the Lucha Brothers are going to win. It's going to be a great match, lots of high-flying action. But I have Lucha Brothers going over.
Yeah, me too, and it frustrates me because FTR is basically fodder for Lucha Brothers, and in my opinion, it should probably be the other way around.
Yeah.
I think this damages FTR, which is a shame. But, yeah, I mean, Lucha Brothers are over with the crowd. They just beat the Young Bucks at the last pay-per-view. They're not going to switch this belt again. I think Lucha Brothers retain here.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're not, trust me. The Young Bucks, the EVPs, did not do the job for these guys just to see them lose that belt in one pay-per-view series. So you are correct there. I wouldn't call it the lock of the night just yet, but okay.
No, I would see them switching the belts to FDR here. It would surprise me, but it wouldn't be a shock.
Yeah, I can see where you're going there. All right, next match of the night, and Dan Lambert, American Top Team, one of the best MMA gyms. You'll never hear me say a bad word about them as a gym. But Dan Lambert has basically just been a poor man's Jim Cornette. Can we both just agree on that?
I think that's been the intent.
Yeah. Dear fucking God, just call it a street fight. In a Minneapolis street fight. Gee, how many times are they going to do this? Do you ever notice this? Anytime it's not just a street fight, it's like name of city you're in, street fight, almost as a way to get the crowd over, like, oh yeah, we're the toughest city in the world. It's not a street fight, it's a Minneapolis street fight. It's a Minnesota street fight.
It would be interesting if there were rules like ground rules in Major League Baseball,
Yeah. But Minneapolis street fight. What I did think was cool, though, about this one, when Lambert said, I am the original member of American Top Team, and then it was kind of clever, then Jericho, but it was kind of predictable, but it was clever in a way. And then Jericho's like, well, any member we want, Dan Lambert. So essentially, you got the Inner Circle, which are you got Jake Hager, love him, Sammy Guevara, fucking awesome, Santana and Ortiz, love those guys, and Chris Jericho, who is, I know, your favorite person, especially in recent years with everything he's done in AEW. For those of you who are listening and not watching, Steve is shaking his head, and I'm being a sarcastic dick. Versus the Men of the Year, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, and American Top Team, Junior Dos Santos, Andre Arlovsky, two former heavyweight UFC champions. It's going to be interesting to see them in an actual match. And Dan Lambert, a guy who is 55, 60 years old. So I think he's going to be the guy to fight Jericho in that mix. All right, I don't know. Is there any rules to this thing? Is it going to be an elimination pinfall situation?
No, they're not going to go there.
Or is it you just fight until one side can't get up?
That's exactly, yeah. That's okay. Exactly what it's going to be.
If that's the case, I think Inner Circle takes it. Because Inner Circle's established.
Can I just not watch this, and for the 20 or so minutes that this goes, just watch Paige Van Sant?
Yeah, we could do that. I mean, does she have an OnlyFans page?
I have no idea.
Well, if Paige Van Sant has an OnlyFans page.
I will say, though, that she's like been the best part of this whole thing for me, because she's just she's like sitting there and she's like taking video and selfies and stuff like that, and it's like, it's totally like, I totally believe that that's probably what she would do in real life.
No, it's cool. And then she got some good burns on the mic. Yeah. Honestly, bro, I could see this being some kind of a schmoz that ends in some kind of a draw or no decision. Do you want to just skip this one since it's not?
No, I mean, you went with the Inner Circle here. So really, what I have to ask myself is I gotta walk my way through this. You ready?
Okay, walk your way through.
All right.
Let's hear it.
You bring in these MMA people.
Yep.
Right. You're bringing in a Junior Dos Santos, legit, UFC heavyweight champion type guy, right?
Yep.
They've done this thing with the Men of the Year where they've turned them into these like pro wrestling shoot fighters now, right?
Yep.
And then on the other side, you've got, the Inner Circle.
Yeah.
Jericho just beat MJF.
Yes,
right?
he did.
Guevara just won the TNT championship.
Yes.
Hager is what he is, right? Santana and Ortiz are what they are. So if you brought in America, so why would you bring in America's Top Team just to have them lose to the Inner Circle?
Yeah.
But at the same time, what's next for America's Top Team if they win?
I honestly, dude, I think it's like a side attraction. I think it was to get a ratings bump because I don't think Andre Arlovsky is going to move to pro wrestling. I don't think Dos Santos would do a full-time move to pro wrestling. I think the money was right for those guys. They saw a payday because Andre made some serious UFC money, as did Dos Santos. Freaking Lambert, I think, was just a huge pro wrestling fan, saw it as a way to put his gym over, and freaking, I mean, dude, to his credit, got freaking millions of dollars of free publicity for his gym. So I think,
and he's a legit fan. Like, he's got a belt collection that is pretty impressive.
Exactly. So I think Lambert gets to live out a childhood fantasy. Arlovsky and Dos Santos get another payday to kind of like get their name back out there. They kind of got to run the whole Jim Cornette gimmick, and I think it's just going to be I think this is an attraction match. There's no way they're going to have American Top Team win just to go away. I think they go away after this. I'm sticking with Inner Circle because I just...
So... This one's tough because you got the Jericho factor, right?
You do have the Jericho factor.
I've underestimated the Jericho factor back-to-back pay-per-views already.
Yeah.
If Top Team loses, it's not going to be one of the three MMA guys. It's going to be one of the Men of the Year, and I think that the intent of this was to elevate the Men of the Year. So you're not elevating them by having one of them take the pin.
That's true.
So, and they've walked themselves into a corner here where, because it's a street fight, it's not going to end in like a double DQ or anything. Like, there's gonna be a finish.
Yeah.
So
here's the deal. Not Men of the Year. Basically, the American Top Team have 4 legitimate badasses and a 60-year-old man on their side. I think he's the weak link that ultimately causes them to lose. That way they all get to stay face. Because it's like, look, Lambert gets knocked out early. Now it's 5-on-4. Now they can just gang up on those guys, and then it's the numbers game that ultimately allows them to win. That's what I think is going to happen.
So Lambert, so I'm sorry, I drew a blank on this part. So Lambert's actually wrestling?
Lambert is in the fight. So basically, when they cut the promo, the Inner Circle got to choose who they were going to fight. So they chose Dos Santos, and Arlovsky. They chose Men of the Year. And then at the end, Jericho, and this is why I think Jericho's going to pick Lambert and just beat the hell out of him and let the other guys do the tough stuff for the night. He basically just got on the mic and said, "Hey, you said any member? I choose you. You said you're the original member of American Top Team." So Lambert is actually in this match. Mm-hmm. So it's not 5-on-5. It's 5-on-4.
Well, then it's designed for Lambert to take the pin.
Yes, it's designed for
That's
Lambert.
What protects everybody.
Exactly. Lambert is in there to protect everybody. Arlovsky and Dos Santos are going to look like badasses because they're probably going to be the ones fighting Santana and Ortiz. Sammy Guevara is going to look like a badass. Yeah.
So why are they doing it? See, if this were WWE, it would be easy. The incoming MMA guys would win.
Yep, exactly.
It feels to me like Jericho is going to tap out Lambert.
I think so. I think he's going to hit the walls of Jericho on Lambert, take him out.
I really want to go with Top Team here.
So here's,
but I just don't know what comes after this. So I think I gotta go with you, and I gotta go with the Inner Circle, and I gotta go with my bonus prediction will be that Jericho taps out Lambert.
Okay. Now, things could change. Maybe it's elimination. Maybe it's single pin. Maybe it's
They're
something.
not going to go elimination because then they gotta find a way to pin and protect Junior Dos Santos and all those, and they're just not going to do that.
I got you. Okay.
And they're too green from a pro wrestling standpoint. It would be way too much exposure for them. I think this is designed to have, Hager and Santana and Ortiz and all those guys just taking, just having a big hoss fight somewhere in the crowd with the MMA guys, and then eventually you get back around to Jericho figuring out some way to get Lambert alone, and then tapping him out with the whatever he's going to end up using, the walls of Jericho. I kept thinking about Salt of the Earth because that's what should have happened at the last pay-per-view, but I digress. Yes.
Okay. Well, there we go. All right. So
we're still lockstep, man.
We're still lockstep, baby. All right, next one is Bryan Danielson versus Miro in the AEW Championship Eliminator. All right, so this is why I think, okay, so I already said what I think is going to happen in the main event. Paige, I think, is going over. If Paige is going over and you ultimately want Danielson to be here's the thing. I think they want Danielson to be the face of the company, and I don't think Kenny Omega wants to take that pin. So
you're about to twist yourself in a major pretzel here, but continue.
So,
I know exactly what you're thinking, but keep going.
No. So I think Bryan Danielson beats Miro. That's what I think is going to happen in this match.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think Danielson beating Miro should be like the lock of the night, but I've already went with my lock of the night. So, Danielson's winning here. He's not losing to Miro.
Bryan Danielson's winning because it's Miro, and Miro is just a fucking fantastic wrestler. I think it's going to be a great match.
I think. So you remember earlier when I said I thought there was another match that was going to be match of the night? This is the one.
This is the one. You know what? I could completely see it.
Miro can do some shit, and I think Danielson is going to make him look like a freaking, like even more of a monster than he's looked.
You know what? I could totally see Bryan Danielson make him look like $1 billion because Danielson, all of his matches, he has elevated each opponent in AEW. So you know what,
but Danielson's not losing here.
Danielson's not losing.
Regardless of what they do with the title in the main event, he's not losing here.
All right, so we are in agreement again. Next up, we've got Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus Tay Conti. I'm going with Dr. Britt Baker. I think she's just too hot to lose the belt. This is actually my lock of the night. Britt Baker is not losing that belt.
Yeah, no, not at this point. I don't think anything more needs to be said about that one. There's just no way.
Absolutely. All right, next on the list, Kenny Omega with Pepto-Bismol himself, Don Callis.
Main event.
Taking on, well, there's actually one match ahead of this. There's also a tag team match. I don't know where it's going to be on the card, but it's Nyla Rose and Jamie Hayter versus Hikaru Shida and Thunder Rosa.
You want to do that one after the main event?
No, we'll do. Well, that was what was listed at the top.
I think that might be the pre-show. That might be the kickoff show match. Actually,
I think that is the kickoff match. Yes. So
what are my choices again?
You got Nyla Rose and Jamie Hayter versus Hikaru Shida and Thunder Rosa. I'm gonna just say Thunder Rosa and Hikaru are gonna go over.
All right, hang on. I have to agree with you again.
Damn it! This show has no conflict.
Oh, it's about to.
Okay, it is. All right. So we have Kenny Omega with Don Callis versus Hangman Adam Page. So, there's two paths they could take. Number one, Kenny Omega wins, Bryan Daniels wins, which is what's going to happen. We get the rematch, baby. But Hangman, I think, was supposed to be the guy who went over before, and Tony Khan's a loyal guy. I think Hangman's going over, and I know that this is probably the dumbest pick I'm ever going to say, and you could clip this, Steve, you could highlight this, you could do whatever you want with this, but I think Hangman's going to go over.
I think you're in a time warp, and I think you're believing it's about 6 months ago.
Yes.
So look, I think I think it's unfortunate about how everything's played out because I think that was the original plan. I think the original plan was for Hangman Page, to come and beat Kenny Omega for the title. Unfortunately, a couple things changed. Namely, you had an influx of top-level talent come onto the scene in Punk and Danielson, and Page had to go away for the paternity deal. Yep. And now and it's not like they brought in Danielson and they've kept him away from Omega. I mean, they put him right in the middle of that thing, right?
Yeah. Yes, they did.
What possible value is there right now to switch the title to Page?
I think you get
you're gonna appease the crowd, right? You're gonna give them the catharsis of Page beat Omega for the title. But what do you do next?
Well, I think you get options. You get options for Omega to where you can have other shit going on there, and then Page. So here's my thing, and it's just this weird thought that I have. I'm like, I know they want to put that belt on Bryan Danielson. I know they want that belt on him. They want it on him. What I think they're gonna do is, you give it to Page, you appease the crowd. Next pay-per-view or the following pay-per-view, whenever the contract is stipulated he gets it, you put it on Danielson. Let Danielson be the champ for a while. Then guess what? You bring Kenny Omega back. He figures out a way to get himself into that picture, and then they put it back on Omega. That's what I foresee happening.
So your long-term booking here is...
It's not my long-term booking. It's just looking at the patterns of this company.
So what you're thinking, rather.
That's what I'm thinking. Yes.
They're gonna end Omega's run to Page.
Yep.
After he comes back pretty much out of the blue.
Yep.
Then the Adam Page that is super over with this crowd, you're gonna have Danielson beat him.
Yep.
Within one pay-per-view's time.
That is correct.
And then eventually get back around to Omega beating Danielson and getting the belt back.
I think that is exactly what they're going to set up, and I think that's how it's set up in the back.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
I'm not saying it's smart. I'm not saying it's logic. I'm just saying sometimes with AEW, you got to pick the most illogical thing. And this is similar to the 5 Labors of Jericho, how you should have just have MJF win it and move on. I'm putting myself, because here's the thing: you got to look at the EVP territory, right? And then if it's like, because here's the thing: if Omega beats Page, he knows he's losing that belt to Bryan Danielson. He knows that. So if I'm him, it's like, well, if everybody was expecting Page anyways, yeah, it sucks that I lose to this guy, but it means way, way more if I can win it back from Danielson down the road. So that's just what I'm thinking here.
I'm going to... This is going to be the one where we disagree. I think that Page will put up a good fight.
Yep.
And I think ultimately he will lose, whether it involves, every single member of the Super Elite coming out because they think that somehow protect. I mean, they fool themselves into thinking that it protects him, and it doesn't. But the moment's passed for Page, unfortunately, in my opinion. I understand he's over with the crowd, but if Tony there knows what he's doing, and my understanding is he's taken back all booking decisions from his EVPs.
Yeah.
Because you have to tell a cohesive story. And in my opinion, the story here is that he finds some way to weasel a win out of Page that causes Page to go away for a little while, and not go away, but go away from the main event scene for a little while and find himself again. And then eventually you're going to have Danielson beat Omega. I mean, your prediction, or not prediction, the way you're seeing things is the exact opposite of how I'm seeing things. I think this one is actually going to surprisingly be very straightforward. I think he's going to beat Page, Danielson's going to beat Miro, and then at the next pay-per-view, Danielson's going to beat Omega, and that's going to be it.
Okay, so you're seeing it, Omega being like, all right, if I'm going to lose this, I'm going to lose this to the highest profile guy possible.
Yeah, and
Got it.
if anything, I think that there's more options going that way because it's much like the conversation that we had about MJF and Darby Allen. It's like, well, if Darby wins, what's next? If Paige wins, what's next? There are more babyface challengers at that top level right now than there are heel fit challengers, unless you're going to go into Paige and MJF. But why? Right?
Yeah.
Like there's or you're just going to have various members of the super elite go after Paige, and if you're going to do that, it makes much more entertaining for me, and I think the match quality is better, and I think
Yeah.
it's more likely that they'll just do that, except it'll be with Danielson as champion, so he'll beat Omega, and then who can he go through next? Well, he's got Adam Cole, baby, right?
That's true. That's very
And
true.
then and then once assuming you get MJF through a feud with Punk, and let's say he beats Punk, then you have a supercharged MJF ready to come after Danielson. Imagine those promos because Danielson's a good promo,
Yes, he is. He's a
right? So I
solid
think
promo.
there's much more to do going in that direction, and I think the time is nigh here to get the belt off of Omega.
Yeah.
I just and it's just if it was one pay per view ago, if they had gone into the last pay per view and gone with the match that they were originally going to go with, which was this match,
Yeah.
before Danielson showed up, before Punk showed up, I would have been with you in terms of they could have had Paige win.
Yep.
The time has passed. It is way too late, and I would not do that. So I think, this is where we're going to differ. I think all of our predictions have been the same up until this point. I am going with Kenny Omega as much as it
Kenny
pains me, because I'm ready to see him drop the belt. But one more pay per view, one more pay
One
per view
more pay per view, then he drops the belt. Now, is Danielson going to get a similar? Okay, let's say Danielson wins the championship, which I think he's going to win either way, whether he takes it off of Omega, because to your point, I mean, they went for 30 minutes, and now they're leaving us wanting more because we want to see that match go for 60 if it means we get a winner in that match, right?
Oh yeah.
So, dude, their 30 minutes that they went was like, holy shit, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
So, like, those two at a pay-per-view for the title, that's going to be heavyweight boxing type stuff right there.
They'll have a 45-minute match.
Yeah, and I'll love every second of it. So,
Absolutely.
dude, either way that happens, for me, it just seems so logical, but I've seen AEW drop the ball a few times that this is the one where I'm just like, okay, I know I'm probably wrong here, but there's just a little piece of me that's like, well, if they promised it to him before.
Well, because they screwed it up.
Yeah.
And whether it was, him needing to do, and again, real life takes priority over work. And that's what this is for them, right? Yeah. So, I mean, I get it. He was having a kid, he took time off, whatever. But then there's also, hey, if I have to take time off of work for things like that, then sometimes the promotion that I was going to get goes to the next person.
Yep.
Because I'm not there. And I just think that it could not have happened at a worse time for Adam Page. And it's unfortunate because I think he should have won the title.
He should have.
And now it's going to be a while before they come back around to him. And it doesn't jive for me in terms of everything that's been going on.
Yeah.
It seems like a short-sighted payoff that damages a longer-term story.
I completely agree with you.
With that said, we'll probably be talking on the next cast about the new AEW World Champion Adam Page. But with that said,
you know what? As I said, this is probably the one where I am beyond wrong here, but it just I don't know. There's like a little piece of me that's like,
well, because they've screwed it up so much, I can totally understand why you feel that way. I think this is one where we just disagree.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so Steve.
Yes.
Do you want to jump into the Sweet 16 of the Intercontinental Championship of the world today?
We could.
I'm down to do that. because we've been putting it off to the crowd. It was the tournament was so over.
Hang on, I gotta grab my notes here, man. Everyone's getting a nice up-close view of my chin for those people that are watching.
For those of you who are watching, you're totally seeing you're seeing some chinny chin right now, motherfuckers.
There you go. The Sweet 16.
All right, so I am going to let you list off all the matches today, and let's just do one half of the bracket. Whichever side of the...
Do you want to do the left side or the right side?
I remember the left side having some very difficult Sophie's Choice style decisions, so maybe we should go right side.
Yeah, I think the right side has worse choices, actually, but I think... You want to flip a coin?
Flip a coin. Actually, here, I'll flip my phone. Okay. This is heads. This is tails. All right. Heads, we go left. Tails, we go right.
All right.
All right, it's heads. I said left, right?
Left.
All right, we're going left, baby.
We're going to do left, and we're going to work our way backwards.
Backwards. All right. List the first match, sir.
Number 12. Eddie Guerrero.
Latino Heat
versus number 5, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
You know what? This is going to be one of those rare occasions where I'm kind of glad we don't have 5,000 people watching the stream right now, because I feel like this would lead to some death threats. Because there's no way to there's no clean way out of here, bro. So here's the thing. For me, I think Shawn Michaels goes over here. Reason being, because he's just a sexy boy. Sexy boy! So what I remember with Shawn Michaels' title run, and I've said this on the show multiple times, when he was the Intercontinental Champion, that belt was main event. There was a time when he was the champion, the IC champion, that... You know, him versus Razor Ramon was like on the same level as a Diesel main event, because those guys were just that good. That's what meaning he brought to the belt. Eddie Guerrero, on the other hand, his Intercontinental Championship run did ultimately lead to a heavyweight championship run. And same with Shawn Michaels. I just feel in terms of the belt itself, Shawn Michaels just meant a little bit more to the championship, whereas for Eddie, with Eddie in the Intercontinental Championship, it just felt like a stepping stone, whereas Shawn Michaels, it was also a stepping stone, but he also elevated that title to main event status, so I got to go HBK on this one.
I can't argue with anything you said. I agree. I think... there's certainly critiques for Shawn Michaels' Intercontinental title runs, but I think in the bigger picture, when you look at what he did with the belt and what it meant in his career, I think it meant a little more than it did for Latino Heat. So with all due respect to the late and great Eddie Guerrero, I believe that the Heartbreak Kid will be the first man to enter the Elite 8.
Well, we are in agreement. The Elite 8 is going to be... that's going to be something, bro. So Elite 8, HBK goes over, and God bless Eddie Guerrero, because he was one of my favorites to watch as a kid. So,
all right. So now, fresh off his minor upset of Owen Hart in the round of 32, number 20, Christian Cage, taking on number 4, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I love me some Christian Cage, and I will say, as a dude in his 40s, he's in some spectacular shape right now. No, I'm going to give him his flowers before I send him to the funeral. He looks great. Clearly a main event guy. His match with Omega during the pay-per-view was amazing. He's proven over the years, with multiple organizations, that he is a main event guy, and I feel like the Intercontinental Championship was a stepping stone for that. It's fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin, bro. Stone Cold's got to go over in this one.
The beautiful part about getting to this point, and especially once we get into the Elite 8, is that as great as all these guys were, and as great as they had a legacy with the Intercontinental title, each one had distinct flaws when it came to it as well.
Yes.
That flaw is not going to manifest itself here, and I agree with you. I love Christian Cage. I think that that you could the story of his career is so interesting, but I think you're going up against probably the single biggest draw in the history of professional wrestling. So I agree with you. Stone Cold will advance, and that sets up our first Elite Eight match. Will be the rematch of WrestleMania 14's main event with Shawn Michaels taking on Stone Cold.
I'll see if I can get Mike Tyson to come in as our third judge. I don't think we're going to get
if
it.
You can get Mike Tyson and never mind. I'm not going to say that.
No, man. Yeah. I agree. And then to your point as a draw, as you prepare for the next match, I had 3 Stone Cold Steve Austin shirts before I ever saw him wrestle. That's how big that guy was. Like, that's a draw, bro. If people are buying your shirts and they haven't watched you on TV yet, you're a moneymaker. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Next on the list, sir.
It's an 8-9 match. Number 8, Triple H, taking on number 9, The Rock.
Okay. So we went into this before.
They're not getting easier.
This is not getting easier. Okay. Triple H wins Intercontinental Championship. Catapults himself to not just being one of the biggest heels to ever be in the business, but he's actually like he was actually a owner of the business as well, like a literal owner. But then you look at The Rock. Because if The Rock had not won that Intercontinental Championship, he wouldn't have gotten the heat on the crowd, which would have pushed him over, which made him go from Rocky Maivia to The Rock, and ultimately becoming biggest star in professional wrestling at one point, maybe second to Stone Cold, but it was a tie in my opinion. Dominates pro wrestling, goes to Hollywood, and dominates Hollywood. So in terms of being elevated by the title, I think we can go into Intercontinental Championship elevated The Rock. But if Triple H was not the IC champion, especially after the curtain call situation and everything that went on there, it saved his career too. And not only saved it, elevated him. So these are two situations where that belt definitely elevated the guys more than they elevated the belt, at least at the time of their career they won it. Would that be a fair statement?
Oh, yeah.
So if we're talking in terms, so now these are two elevation guys. These are guys who are elevated. Who elevated more? Did Triple H elevate more than Rock, or did Rock elevate more than Triple H? I would have to make the argument you'd have to go Rock. So
I think it's The Rock all the way.
I think it's Rock.
I think it's The Rock all the way because when you look at the relationship to the Intercontinental title, The Rock had to go through it twice.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It was them putting the belt on him. He beat Triple H, by the way.
Yes, he did.
Then Hunter Hearst Helmsley. But it was them rushing the title on him the first time that caused the crowd to go against him, which ultimately led to him being allowed the freedom to become The Rock.
Yes.
And once they stuck him in the Nation, and then he went through that period, what was the first thing he really did? It was go after that Intercontinental title again that was owned by Steve Austin.
Yes.
And then after spending some time at that Intercontinental title level as the heel Rock, eventually is what led to him becoming that main event guy, which ended up, his persona that came out as The Rock ended up becoming what catapulted him into mainstream celebrity and the biggest movie star of all time. So I think for me, it's The Rock.
Yep, because if we're talking in terms of elevation, he elevated higher than Triple H. And it's not like, I don't think Triple H is hurting. I mean, the dude is one of the...
No.
Dude, it's Christmas morning at the McMahon household, and he's there. I think he did just fine for himself, but Rock goes over. All right, next on the list. Oh,
The next
man.
match will be number 6, Chris Jericho
Ooh,
taking on number 1, the Macho Man, Randy Savage.
goddamn.
Jericho, the man who has held the Intercontinental title the most number of times with 9 reigns,
Yeah,
whereas the Macho Man only had 1,
Macho Man only had one, but the
but an
way he
epic one.
won it, yeah, the way he lost it, though, should have elevated Steamboat to new heights, but it didn't because his reign fell flat. But after he lost it, he went straight for the World Championship. The Macho Man did. So had greatest match of all time to where everybody like that's like a it's like a pro wrestling study on chain wrestling. You watch Randy Savage versus Steamboat. Now, and when he elevated to championship level, he was treated like the guy. Now, Jericho was also elevated, and he was the first undisputed champion. But when he was at WrestleMania, the same WrestleMania, I believe, was it 18?
When he took on who?
When he took on Triple H, and he was the undisputed champion. It was
No, that
18.
wasn't 18. That was, I think, 16.
16, because it was the one where Rock took on Hogan, right? Because
Oh,
that was
no, you're right. It was
yeah,
18.
it was
You're
18.
right.
Yeah. So when they did, and Jericho said this himself, when they showed the pictures of that match, the main event match, it wasn't Chris Jericho being accompanied by Stephanie McMahon. It was Stephanie McMahon being accompanied by Chris Jericho for the match. So it was basically Stephanie versus Jericho. Jericho was kind of used as a prop. So if we go to another elevation type status, I'm leaning Macho Man on this one.
Yeah, I think it's Savage, and Jericho's Intercontinental title runs were what they were. Some of those numbers came after he was the undisputed champion.
Yeah.
To me, the title in the context of the Macho Man's career, especially during the Hogan era, right, meant so much more than any one of Jericho's title runs. I think Jericho, he's synonymous with the title, but I think Macho Man has a special relationship with the title. I think it has to be Savage here advancing.
Savage here has to advance. All right.
Which sets up 1-9, Savage Rock. And that is going to cause me to drink more than Rock Honky Tonk Man.
This is my heart. Are you seeing it at home, people? This is my heart ripping in half because I know one of my childhood icons is going to have to be vanquished.
You know what I think we need to do?
What do we need to do?
I think we just need to finish out the Sweet 16 here. We got 4 more to go. You want to finish this off?
Let's finish the Sweet 16, baby.
Here we go. Number 23, Randy Orton, taking on number 7, the bad guy, Razor Ramon.
Okay. Randy Orton, dude, this is tougher than people think, in my opinion. Because Randy Orton elevated and then became a multiple time world champion off this title run. And while Razor Ramon did take the belt to main event status, he never won the championship. He never won the main title. The bad guy was one of my most favorite Intercontinental champions of all time. But if you look at the whole picture, I actually have to go Orton on this one.
Really?
I have to go Orton on this one. Because Orton got elevated by that title to go into the championship picture. So if you're looking at the championship picture, what he did for it, it was great. But if you look at what Ramon did, Ramon is right there with HBK, and he brought that title to main event status. Basically, it was interchangeable. So
I'm going to give you something else to think about.
Okay.
Who was the world heavyweight champion during the majority of Razor Ramon's Intercontinental title run?
Diesel.
Well, Diesel or Bret Hart, right?
Diesel or Bret Hart, yeah.
Who were both baby faces.
Yes, they were.
there wasn't really an opportunity
That's
for
true.
Razor to become the world champion.
That's true. All
And
right.
then at some point in the future, he ended up jumping to WCW, and that was what it was.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Orton's is what he is, right? And he had a cup of coffee at the Intercontinental title level, and then went on and never looked back. He's been the 14-time world champion, I think, right? 13, something like that.
14-time, yeah.
The body of work of Razor Ramon as the Intercontinental champion, the first ladder match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that was solid.
His dropping his first Intercontinental title to Diesel, and what that ended up doing for Diesel in terms of, he main evented the King of the Ring with Bret Hart in the champion versus champion match. I think that played a big role in pushing Diesel. I think Razor's, his battles with Jeff Jarrett and Goldust, helping establish them as Intercontinental champions.
So what you're looking at this as, I saw this as, what did the belt do for Orton? You're saying that Diesel's
I think the belt did a lot for. I think the belt did a lot for Razor too. I mean, do you think if Scott Hall didn't spend all that time as Intercontinental champion, that his stock wouldn't have been so high that WCW wanted to poach him if he was just random mid card Razor Ramon?
I'm in agreement, but I was looking at your reasoning here, and it seems like it's like Diesel he elevated Diesel, he elevated Goldust, he elevated Jarrett. He did so much as a champion. First time ladder match, made it main event, and if you look at the title, Diesel is more synonymous with the belt than Randy Orton is, because Randy, as you said, was a quick cup of coffee before elevating to a 13, 14-time world champion. And had Diesel not had the belt, he would not have been.
We're talking about Razor, remember?
Razor, yeah. Razor, my apologies. So had Razor Ramon not held that title, he would have not been the draw. And not only held the title, but taken it to the level that he did. He would not have been the draw that WCW needed to come back and ultimately go one-on-one with Vince McMahon and actually beat them for 83 weeks.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I'm Razor on this one. I'm Razor
on this one also.
Are you sure? I mean, you were pretty adamant about Randy Orton.
I was at first, but then as I look back and I go through everything, I have to agree with you, because I was a prisoner of the moment. You
were convinced until Steve Slammer backed his Winnebago up into you and made you change your mind.
You changed Jack Slammer's mind. Because here's the thing. I've got an open mind. Psychedelics will do that to a man. And you know what?
Do it, baby.
You convinced me with your great arguments. And actually, I was either way on that one also. Yeah, I'm gonna go Razor Ramon with you on this one.
All right, Razor Ramon advances to the Elite Eight. Next, we got 3 more matches, man. Next,
3 more matches.
Number 15, the Ravishing One himself, Ravishing Rick Rude versus number 2, the Ultimate Warrior.
For me, here's the thing. That Intercontinental Championship victory over Honky Tonk Man elevates him, and then he winds up beating Hulk Hogan. And Hulk Hogan does not drop matches clean very often.
No, he barely dropped a clean one to the Warrior, but
he gave a clean one. Well,
he gave a clean 3.1.
You know what? But the thing is, he still laid on his back and let the pin happen. So, Ravishing Rick Rude, loved him, fantastic performer. But I got to go Ultimate Warrior on this one.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that one. I think Rude is more of a prototypical Intercontinental champion.
He is, very much so. Definitely the working man's champion.
But when you look, I mean, and unfortunately, we have a series of matches in this round where one was used as a stepping stone for the other. Rude was a stepping stone for the Warrior. So the Warrior, he got that heat from the Honky Tonk Man. Rude was his adversity. He had to overcome Rude and the Heenan family, and he did. And then eventually goes on to become the world champion, whereas Rude ended up going back to, NWA, WCW, where he became, world champion there. But in the context of the Intercontinental title and the classical or prototypical Intercontinental title path, I think you got to go with the Warrior here.
Absolutely.
As much as it pains me, because I love Ravishing Rick Rude.
Oh, dude, Rick Rude, that dude's abs were like on point, man.
Oh yeah,
dude, and he was charismatic. He was definitely like Val Venus was his own thing, but Rick Rude was definitely like his inspiration.
That pseudo porn star music he had in WWF didn't work for me though. His WCW theme was pretty good though. He's simply ravishing. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
All right, next, number 6, Edge, taking on number 11, the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle.
Fuck. Okay. Well, this is tough. This is real tough. Well, so here's the thing. Kurt Angle was the Intercontinental champion, but Kurt was also being pushed the whole way from when he entered into the company to when he made his exit. He was always a guy who was kind of pushed, so you kind of knew he was going to be in that main event picture the whole time. Edge, on the other hand, he was kind of a working man's hero. So basically, yeah, he got a little bit of a push when he first started in, but because he hurt, I forget who he hurt on his first match, but he broke the guy's neck on a botched move. He kind of got put to the back a little bit, and he kind of had to earn his way back in with everything with the success of the Brood. So for me, I don't know if Edge quite would have been what he is today had he not had that stepping stone of a title, which is the IC belt. But Kurt Angle was always going to kind of be that main event guy because he had the eyes of Vince McMahon from the get-go. Like, Vince scouted him, wanted him, moved him. I am leaning Edge, but I could be convinced otherwise.
You're making a compelling argument. I was actually leaning Angle.
Yeah.
And the reason why is I agree with everything you said about Kurt, but we've seen them bring in high-profile guys before that have flopped, and I think Kurt's time holding that Intercontinental title and what he was doing with it and developing his promo, I think that's what ended up being the proving ground for him to give them the confidence that he was ready to be the standard bearer at the world title level.
Yeah.
And this is during a time, by the way, when you've got Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H, and yet Angle was able to crack into that hierarchy.
He was.
And I think it was because of what he was able to prove at the Intercontinental title level. When it comes to Edge, I agree with everything you said. I think Edge is, fine as an Intercontinental champion. It certainly played a big role in his progression. But for me with Angle, I look at the time period and he really needed to prove himself, and he blew it out of the water as the Intercontinental or the Eurocontinental champion.
Yeah, he did.
Cracked into that hierarchy.
Dude, and The Rock was still there. With Stone Cold.
With no extensive pro wrestling background.
No, none whatsoever. So he came in basically as green as you could possibly come in as, at least to that level. Took every opportunity, knocked it out of the park, and not just I think everybody knew with how great of an athlete he was, he would eventually become a good in-ring worker. But what was most impressive about the guy is he actually had some of the funnier moments in WWE because he was willing to just go there. His stuff with Stone Cold Steve Austin, where he's playing the guitar, he's got that little tiny cowboy hat on.
Jimmy Crack Corn and I don't care.
Don't care, Jimmy Crack Corn. There was that. There was his stuff with Stephanie McMahon. I love you, Stephanie. No, and then they went after it, and then he was telling that story how he had to do that while Vince McMahon was directing. Probably not awkward. It's all right, cool. I just gotta make out with your daughter, this billionaire's daughter.
It's not like it's something she hadn't done with wrestlers before.
Oh, hey, well, did you say wrestler or wrestlers?
plural, because you had
Plural.
Triple H and then you had, possibly Randy Savage.
Oh yeah. Well, there's a reason
Well,
why.
hang on. Remember, she had the storyline deal with Test too, so I think she did have to make out with Test.
Yep, there
So
was Test.
I feel justified in my use of the plural.
You know what? You are justified. She is on camera, at least with three different guys making out on
Well, I don't
camera.
want to know what she's done on camera, but
Well, I mean, that we have seen. Oh, da da da. All right, cool.
yeah.
So I, for the second time, have been convinced, because I could have gone either way. I was leaning Edge.
I could have gone either way.
So, because Angle cracked the top at the time that he did, whereas Edge's crack was more of an opportunistic thing because it was a little bit more shallow at the top when he started to take over. I mean, fuck, you know what? That's convincing. Because you have to go up there with Rock, Triple H, Stone Cold, and stay relevant amongst those cats. All right, fuck it. Angle's going over.
Angle has gone over, and that brings us to the final match.
The final
of the
match.
Sweet 16. A match that I could literally watch forever because they've wrestled before multiple times. Number 3, Bret the Hitman Hart taking on number 14, Mr. Perfect.
All right, so this one is not difficult for me, even though I love their match. What was Bret Hart known as?
The excellence of execution.
And
the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be.
And the Intercontinental Championship is described as two different things. The guy, either the guy who's next to get the title, or the best technician in the company. And Bret Hart was the best technician in the company when he was there. Kurt Hennig played a huge role in getting Hart over, at least in their singles match, because that was a fucking great match where Hart just kept coming and coming. But I'm going Bret Hart on this. It's not really that hard for me. So
I agree. I think for me, Mr. Perfect was the heel version of Bret Hart.
He was, yeah.
And what's the difference between the two? Well, Perfect had back issues and had to retire and eventually came back, and Bret Hart went on to become multiple-time WWF champion. I mean,
yes,
that's.
He did.
I mean, look at what they both did at the Intercontinental title level. It's eerily similar.
Yes.
Perfect drops the title to the Texas Tornado for a brief time and then wins it back. Bret Hart drops the title to the Mountie of all people and then wins it back from Piper. A couple months later. The difference for me is Bret Hart capitalized on it because he could and he had the opportunity to, and Perfect, because of his injuries, just wasn't able to. So
I agree.
It's sad, but it is the Hitman.
It is what it is. And then also with the Hitman, I mean, WWE had to go smaller because of the steroid trial. So you had to go to the guys who were in shape. But
and think about what could have been. If Perfect didn't have the back problems that he had, and maybe could have stayed heel with a champion, babyface champion Bret Hart. The battles that they could have had instead of having him have to slum around with Yokozuna. God rest his soul. Yokozuna was what he was, but they could have spent the mid '90s having world title matches and trading the title back and forth. A la Ric Flair and Steamboat, or Ric Flair and Barry Windham, or take your pick.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with the Owen Hart. Should Owen Hart have been able to overcome Christian Cage in the bigger picture of things in this tournament? Sure, but because he passed early, and Christian went on to do the things that he did, Christian advances, and I think that's where you're at here.
Yep.
So, with that said, the Elite Eight is set. I'm going to put the glasses back on one more time.
Shit.
Number 1, Macho Man Randy Savage, taking on number 9, The Rock. Number 4, Stone Cold Steve Austin, taking on number 5, the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. Number 3, Bret the Hitman Hart, taking on number 11, Kurt Angle. Number 2, The Ultimate Warrior, taking on number 7, Razor Ramon.
Now that's a fucking card right there, bro.
Now it gets tough.
Now it's very tough, because how are you going to compare Macho Man versus Rock?
That's going to be tough.
That's going to be tough. All these are not going to be easy.
How do you do Austin Heartbreak Kid? I mean, Sean might not to get too into the analysis, but I mean, Austin was the Intercontinental Champion for about 8 seconds.
Yeah.
Bret Hart and Kurt Angle. Well, that one's probably easy, but I mean, Ultimate Warrior and Razor Ramon. I got to think through that one.
We do. Yeah, this is going to get very, very, very interesting very quickly.
But we're down to 8. We started with 89. We seeded 64. We went to 32, 16 today, and now we're down to the final 8, the Elite 8. And it ain't going to be easy. You may need to call in the reinforcements for these, or we may need a tiebreaker because we're going to probably disagree on a few of these. Maybe you can get we can get something going on in the chat or something.
We are gonna get a third judge for the final 8. And what I think we can probably kill through the whole tournament next episode. We're gonna finish the whole thing.
Ooh, so you want to go Elite 8, Final 4, and the championship all in one show? Ooh.
I
tell you what.
Let's go Elite 8 to the Final 4. So we can get down to the top 2, and then we'll build it up like a championship fight.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we can do Elite 8 and Final 4 in one show, but I think we should probably take a minute to think through the final.
And let's do this. Let's get a graphic going because I want to promote the fuck
we gotta
out
update.
of this.
I gotta update the graphic. I'll send you the updated graphic.
Send me the updated graphic. I'm gonna do like a little Facebook promo because we have to we've got to show people.
Down to 8, man.
I want a big ass poster that had all 64 down to where we are now.
I have that.
The hell out of that. Yeah, let's do that. It's gonna be great. But man, this was a fun podcast, man. It's always fun when I don't have to just rush out, at the very end. But
I mean, think about what we covered. We talked about channeling and developing Jack Slammer.
Jack Slammer.
We had discussions about AEW's direction, went right into a prediction show, and did the entire Sweet 16 of the greatest Intercontinental Champions tournament, a little Veterans Day action mixed in there. Good show, man. It was a good show. I think next time we got to talk a little bit more about where we're at in terms of show prep because, I got things to talk about, man. But
yes, we do.
This is a good show. Well, and next show we also don't forget we're going to have to go into Survivor Series predictions as well.
Survivor Series predictions. We're going to see who was right, who was wrong on the freaking main event at Full Gear. I'm going to give a spoiler alert. It's probably me because it's always me that's wrong. But, I had to give you folks something, right? That was conflict, right? So there we go.
Real quick while you're doing this, I want to see one thing. I'm going to look this up. Hang on.
All right. No worries. I
It
will keep
is because I'm always interested in Vegas odds.
Yeah.
So the Full Gear card does have official betting odds. And the main event has Adam Page is actually favored.
Oh shit.
At minus 950?
Damn.
What?
Bro.
There's no way he's a 9-1 favorite.
I mean, somebody knows something, bro.
Hang on. What the?
Somebody knows something.
One more. Wow. So, all right. So here's an actual. So that was on one page. This is the actual. These are the actual Caesar's odds here. Adam Page minus 700. So Adam Page is the favorite.
7-1, right?
Well, that means 1-7. So minus 700. Minus 700 means you got to put up $700 to win 100.
Okay, so 1-7. Okay.
So you bet 7, you win 8, basically.
Got it. Okay.
And then real quick, I'll just run through these. Britt Baker is minus 1,000.
Yeah, she's going over.
Danielson is minus 300.
Only 300?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lucha Brothers are minus 450.
Okay.
Punk is minus 1,000.
Of course he is.
MJF is minus 200.
Okay.
Super Click is minus 200. The Inner Circle is minus 250. So we're on to all the favorites, except for me, apparently. I cannot believe that Adam Page is a minus 700 or minus 900 favorite, unless they're just trying to draw money.
Dude,
That
I mean,
has to be
because
what they're doing.
well, because here's the thing: can you legally bet on professional wrestling because it's predetermined? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You just have to make it to where whoever's doing the booking or the you can't have the bookies in contact with the actual wrestling promoters to know who's going to win, right?
Would be illegal. So Page being favored, I look at the money line for Omega because that's really what matters. Omega is plus 450.
Okay.
I'm shocked.
I mean, we can both put 1,000 on it and see what sticks.
I'm well. Basically, if you put 1,000 on Omega, you would win 4,500.
I'll put 1,000 on Omega. Let's do it.
I'm stunned. I gotta believe. I maybe I'm wrong on this one. I don't know. It feel. Well, I don't need to rehash the analysis. Hey, it's been a great show.
It has been a sensational show.
Here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna find out on Sunday.
We are gonna find out on Sunday. I'm gonna be promoting the fudge out of all this.
I'm ready to go put the money on Omega, though. I tell you that much. Plus 450. Shit.
Plus 450. You know what? Is there an online source that you agree with, or can I just Venmo you some cash and you can throw it down?
Well, unfortunately, where I'm currently located, I can't do sports betting online.
Oh, yeah, we're there's
Can you drive across state lines?
Can I drive across state line to Vegas? I can drive across state line to Vegas. Just so I could drop that. Just so I could drop $1,000 for you.
I tell you what. Let me look into what my online sports betting options are here, and if they allow for betting on professional wrestling. Because I'm telling you right now, at plus 450, I'm really considering putting down some bucks on Kenny Omega here.
Honestly, bro, if that's like legit,
those are the legit odds.
I'm Venmoing you some cash to throw down for me.
Mm.
So
we may have some interesting stories to tell on the next episode of the Slammer Brothers Wrestling Podcast.
It's like, look, I put my heart with Adam Page, but I put my money on Kenny Omega.
Well, right now the money says you should be, you're not going to make a lot of money putting it on Adam Page here.
Absolutely.
You got to put up $700 to win 100. There's no
stupid.
Value there.
No, zero value whatsoever. All right, folks. Well, I want you all to take a moment to follow us on Instagram at The Slammer Brothers. Follow us on TikTok at The Slammer Brothers. Follow me on TikTok at OJackSlammer, and you can also follow me on Instagram at JackSlammerFitness. You can also follow Steve Slammer at Steve_Slammer on Instagram. You can buy this amazing hoodie as well as t-shirts over at SlammerFitness.com. And if you're looking to getting in shape for next summer, you don't want to get too fat in the winter and you want to get laid once the shade is gone, you can go to JackSlammer.com and hire me as your fitness coach.
And you will not have to have the consults occurring in the Winnebago.
The consults will not occur in the Winnebago, only near the Winnebago. All right,
near the Winnebago.
Near the Winnebago. Near my Winnebago. Yeah.
Park it, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, put it. I got a stick shift, baby. Yeah.
Oh, dear God.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Slammer Brothers podcast. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.